because the fans are the ones that are going to invest in this stuff. They're the ones that are going to want to go and see a Borderlands movie over and over. Why the people that have played Borderlands are playing Borderlands, then they're going to turn their back on those people for what?
This is a movie that was announced, I don't know, a couple years ago, and Borderlands is a franchise. And Salty, you've played Borderlands, correct?
Yeah, the Borderlands series, the first two of them, I played a ton of, and it completely, and again, caught off guard. I guess I had no idea that they were making a movie until I saw the. I think Nerdrotic tweeted out the 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, that sounds about right. Okay.
Well, it has not been met with the most positive reception at this point. As you said, it is currently sitting at a sweet. Well, it opened at a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and has since been upped. When it's upped to a 4%, you know things are kind of rough, if you will. Now, some of the reviews for this movie, as IGN says, Borderlands is an abysmal waste of a beloved franchise that takes a kooky band of murderous misfits and drains the life out of their first adventure together. Like that's scathing from IGN. They gave it a 3. A hyper stylized flair of the Borderlands games is replicated only by the most superficial level, and with a PG-13 rating, all the limb-severing gore, dirty-minded humor, and unique, deranged themes are replaced by recycled blandness geared towards mass marketability. Yeeks! So Kevin Hart does it again, which is great. We continue. Rolling Stone says, we'd say it's the worst video game movie ever, but that's way too limiting.
Wow.
Yeeks. And yeah, so this has been a reoccurring thing. And I'll tell you what, people have been critical of this. They talk about how it doesn't stick to the games. And I think that if you're making a movie about an IP, you'd want to keep it fairly close. Salty, as somebody who played the games, your thoughts on what you'd expect to see from a Borderlands game or Borderlands movie.
Can you put that screen cap back up so people can see it?
Sure.
Well, I stroll down memory lane for these young people out there who don't understand because they're young idiots. Anyhow, Borderlands came out, or the development cycle of Borderlands was done at a very interesting time. They were going for a very realistic. They were going up against games like Rage, and they had to make a tonal shift because their game was going to get lost in the. You were going to lose against id in that. Even though Rage turned out to not be that great, but anyway, you had two exactly identical games that came out looking like Mad Max kind of stuff, and they went through a complete fundamental change of how the game looked. They went to that cell shaded move, and that made a franchise. I mean, that with the gore and the funny stuff, all that. But the visual change that they made saved that game, made a franchise, probably saved, who was it, Gearbox who does this? And then you make a movie and you don't take any of those aspects of it. It's just these assholes like this they continue to do stuff like this. They just try to grift off the name and pay zero respect to the fan base and the people who would like that shift, that the way that game looks right there is not at all put into this movie, as far as I can tell, because I'm not going to go watch this shitty movie. But with the that screen capture of this cast, you guys fucked up right off the bat. It's insane that you're allowed to get away with this, but this is just how this works. They're not interested in making money.
Well, this is what they do these days with all your franchises. They just take it, they label it with whatever it is, whether it be Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and then they change it. They're just now coming out and starting to admit that it's got like no connection to the game or anything like that.
It's insane. It looks like, I mean, there are people out there who cosplay this franchise.
Yeah.
And it looks way better than this. And you guys probably sunk a bunch of money into this. It's insane that everybody involved in this, not only do they not know anything about this franchise, they've never played the game, but they've got absolute disdain for the people who love this game, the people who bought this game and made it available for you idiots to make a movie off of. You hate us. And you will go out there, and I'm sure pictures have been come out during it sounds like this has been in development forever. I'm sure stuff came out and people were sitting there going, this ain't gonna work. You're gonna get a 0 to 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. You better change the look of this. And they go, we'll show you, you stupid incels. And then they make it look even more realistic, which is dumb. It's dumb as hell.
Well, I'll say
A good example.
Oh,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say a good example of the complete opposite of that was the Sonic movie.
Yeah.
You know, when they brought out that first design and the fans tore him to shreds. And it did. It looked stupid. That first design that they came out with, that first trailer, man, that deserved to get completely shredded. And they changed it. They delayed the movie. They changed it, and they got rewarded for that. Because the fans are the ones that are going to invest in this stuff. They're the ones that are going to want to go and see a Borderlands movie over and over. Why? The people that have played Borderlands are playing Borderlands. Then they're going to turn their back on those people for what? For the message? Is that what it is? Like, I don't even know what the controversy is because I never really played the game or anything like that. So, Salty, you've played the game. These characters that were in that picture, are they based on any actual characters from the game?
Yeah, they're based on actual characters of the game. I don't know how well they stuck to the storylines of the game. And to be honest with you, I didn't really stick that much to the storyline. It's essentially Diablo with guns in a cell shaded environment. I was just interested in leveling up my character, but those characters are in there. But you can't, again, if you've made it PG, now, much like screwing up the look of the movie, you're going to really mess up the tone. It's super gory. There's edgy jokes and stuff like this. The characters are insane, and making it PG again. You're trying to you've already got an installed base of people that have bought millions of copies of these games, and you're pissing on them. So you can appeal to people who don't know anything about this franchise, and they're not going to go watch your stupid movie in the first place.
Okay, so it's funny you mentioned that, and here's the characters in the game versus the actors or actresses that play them. You can see the difference with Jamie Lee Curtis and Cate Blanchett, both younger characters. This has been So the ongoing theme with this game has been this is a movie, or with this movie is this is the movie, and it should be treated as the movie. It's not the game. This is the movie. Trust us, it's the movie, even though it's based off the game, right? And there was an interview that was done by Screen Time where they asked the director about Borderlands and specifically why he chose to cast those people in those characters. So let's kind of take a look to see what he had to say.
Okay.
Why did you decide to go down the route of those changes?
It wasn't about changing age. I'm reading the script and I'm not thinking about the game. I'm thinking about the movie. I'm not.
So there, I think that's like the first thing.
Right off the bat. Just, okay. Idiot.
We're 8 seconds in. I'm not thinking about the game at all. So let's go continue.
Thinking, oh, this person is a certain age in the game. They have to be that. Yes, Tiny Teen is a kid. But for everyone else, I go, who are the best actors? And you're talking about the best actor in the world. You go right to Cate Blanchett. She said yes. Once you have Cate Blanchett, I went to Jack Black to play Claptrap, Jamie Lee Curtis to play Tannis. I do think there's a tremendous amount of ageism in Hollywood. And it's kind of, I understand why people.
What?
But
Seriously? Oh, man. This is the thing. All they need to do is adapt it, be honorable to the source material, and they hit a home run. It would be like, remember it's a guilty pleasure sort of thing, but Mortal Kombat, the original, that first Mortal Kombat movie. The second one not so good, but that first one was pretty decent, and it wasn't like just constant two people lining up to fight. They put a story in behind it and all of this kind of thing, but the characters stuck to the characters. You look at Liu Kang, it looks like Liu Kang, right? At least close enough. You know, you look at Johnny Cage, it looks like Johnny Cage. You look at Sonya, it looks like Sonya. Like, what's so wrong with doing that? Why do they take these IPs and then just completely change it, make it something that it's not? It's mind-blowing to me because they could just hit a home run. With the fans of Borderlands, they could just hit a home run simply by honoring the source material.
I think you can do that with any established video game or IP. The idea, like you take a comic, like it's such a layup. The idea, because I think people who are fans of these games, IPs, whatever it may be, it turns into a movie. You could literally just turn the movie beat for beat from the source material, and people would go gaga over it. Like this happens in the game, so we're going to make this in the movie. This happened, you know, and just go beat for beat, whether it's a comic, whether it's a cartoon, whatever it may be. Especially for just go down the line. You don't need to add your own personal flair to it along the way. But of course, in a situation like this, you know, there's always some sort of ism associated with this. And here we have the ageism. You know, there's some ageism associated with this. So let's go to continue to see what he has.
I mean, look at that.
The rest.
Just quickly, you know what would be a really good idea for a game developer and a movie to come out around that game would be like, imagine if they did a cinematic universe, but also you've got like play the game, then they tell a story, and then they connect the movie to the next game. You know what I mean? Like, just have it. Anyway, it was just a thought.
Yeah. Flickerbox came in and said the idea of Borderlands was announced in 2011, and it was a pitch and okayed by Gearbox. Right. And to be clear, that's right. Gearbox is totally on board with all this stuff. So Com says, I guarantee Borderlands ends with Handsome Jack teaser post credits that never materialized because the movie bombs. Com, if we see a sequel to this, it'll be amazing. But
they didn't put they didn't put that dude in there. That's crazy.
Yup.
The thing is if they don't care enough, to make the first one, you know, good and match up with the source material and all of that sort of thing, why would that stop them from doing a second one? That's my thought process on it. Like, of course they'd green light, no matter whether or not this fails or not. They don't care about the fans. They don't care what the fans say. They don't care what the fans want. They're just making what they want, and they're spending all this money on it and not getting return on investment. It wouldn't surprise me. It's the same thing with a lot of like the Acolyte. I know, sorry to go off and and bring up Star Wars, but Acolyte season 2, I can almost guarantee that they're going to do that. Because they don't. Yeah, man. I don't want to go off on the Star Wars thing. I don't want to derail it, but it's just the example that I've got is we just had a season of that, and it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they greenlight a season 2, despite the fact that it was so poorly received and they're losing money on this stuff. They don't care.
Yeah, well, I think the fact that they don't have Handsome Jack in this is probably they thought they were going to get another one because that's like the best character in the franchise. And if you're not going to put him in it, then it's screaming to me that you these idiots thought they were going to get a second movie, and he was going to probably be the main character or the antagonist in that one. But whenever you show a clip of this movie, it's all dark, and it just does not at all have the vibes of the game. The game pops. I mean, they purposely put hyper pink and stuff like that all over the place, and they've missed every single visual tone as far as I can tell. And that's before you get to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. But I also just want to like debunk this whole ageism thing that they seem to be saying about Hollywood, because Dame Maggie Smith, Dame Judi Dench, Helen Mirren, Meryl Streep, they constantly get roles. They're in so high demand because they're fantastic actresses. Everybody wants them. And if you want to talk about the ageism, well, maybe Hollywood should stop doing this standard. Like once you reach 35 as a woman, you're out of it because you're no longer hot and sexy because they can't think of you as some minor anymore. So maybe you should work on that instead of being like, oh, we have ageism. No, hire the people for the right roles and then you won't have the problem. It's just they're stupid.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing with race swapping or gender swapping a character. It's the same argument from the fans. We just want it to look like and the characters be exactly like what they are in whatever it is you're adapting, whether it be a book, whether it be you're making a show out of a movie, you make whatever it is that you're doing. We just want the characters and the lore and the canon and all of that sort of thing to stay true to what it was and not change it and not, that it's the same argument that we're saying in regards to the age thing. Well, I'm not, because I don't really care. But, the people that have that complaint that the age of these characters is a problem for them, it's because they want you to honor the source material. It's the same thing, like I said, with race and gender and
it's like if
everything
you don't
else.
respect the lore, then what are you going to respect, right? Like, what is there to work off if you won't even respect the lore in the first place?
Ageist. He actually said you're ageist. Like, come on, man.
Great point. Why did they not de-age them? That's so true. Like, you have that option. You want to use those actors for everything and not change your mind.
It's the cost to de-age them and make it actually look good.
But maybe they actually would have saved their own movie now.
Maybe they should just cast. Maybe they should just cast somebody that looks like the character that they are in the game.
Don't be smart.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was really interesting because this movie opened with 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then it was up to 4%. So people said, "How did it get up? Who was it?" And it was exposed as Gene Angry Penguin says the only tomato on Rotten Tomatoes is from Grace Randolph right now. So he went out. This is a legacy. I would say at this point she's a legacy movie reviewer. She says it was me from 0% to 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. Whatever, man. I had a good time. Pretty crazy to set your review to post at 3 a.m. and discover you're the only one who liked it. I never played the game, to be fair. So there you go, right? But I do have some bad news for Borderlands, as the score has since gone from 4% down to 3%.
It's gone down.
So unfortunate.